Hi everybody, it's Cash. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. Hello my darlings, lovely to see you all. Today, as promised, I have forecasts for the next 2 months, taking us up to the end of the year. These aren't astrology. They are simply energetic and even soul-driven, perhaps. But they split everybody up into their star signs for convenience. If you are a subscriber to the Soul Crossings channel, you may have noticed that the Soul Crossing channel doesn't exist anymore. It's now the Enlightened Beings Club. The transitions will still appear here as usual, only now there'll be a lot more content related to spirituality and energy and a lot of testing of different things for energy. Same pictures, same everything, but expanded content. If you want to know more, there is a video on the main channel. I'll put a link to it down below so that you can go and look at it. That explains everything. But for now, this is the beginning of the new revamped Soul Crossing channel, the Enlightened Beings Club channel. And these are the forecasts for November and December 2023. Beginning, as I always do, with Gemini, because that's my sign. And these were interesting pictures that made no sense when I did them. I did them about a week and a half ago, and I thought, how is this going to relate to my life, much less anybody else's? Because when I went into the energy, there's Gemini. There was I know that looks like a really depressed character. It's not. There was a sense here of having to or wanting to stay low, stay out of the limelight, dodge attention, not necessarily plod on in the direction that life had been going. It felt like if I just hide here, go around this corner, then maybe people will leave me alone. So this could be about escaping problems, but it could also be about not attracting extra attention. It felt like a period of assimilation. But it was very kind of skulky and low, not sulky, skulky and low. And I can relate this very much to my own life. This is exactly how I feel. And it worries me when that happens. It's almost like I'm just doing pictures for myself, but this is how I feel. And these pictures actually do relate to something that I can see happening in my life. So this little figure skulked on, and actually the path went on and on and on and on, if that's what Geminis wanted. It was a bit more of the same, followed by more of the same, and so on into the new year. Nothing needed to change. However, there was a really fascinating alternative to that path. I cannot draw spiral staircases, but there was a spiral staircase. And what they usually mean is progress, but faster than normal, because you go vertically, basically, rather than across. So the alternative to just plodding on along the path was to take this option, this opportunity, make this choice, whatever it was. I know how it applies to my own life, but I don't know how it applies to anybody else's. But this was a chance to accelerate the process. Now, this took the Gemini little figure up to a higher path. There was opportunity here, a new way of looking at things and so on, but there was also a tunnel that turned left, which brought concerns and sorting things out and having to worry about that and do I want to do this? So lots of things to consider. But at the end of this very short tunnel, there was glowing daylight. This was something seemingly worth doing, if that's the choice you made. So it was a very straight dilemma, really. Just plod on, stay low, don't do anything out of the ordinary, or make that extra effort and go higher. Stretch further, go beyond your comfort horizon. Now, there was a little ledge at the end of the tunnel, which seemed like it was a bit dodgy, like, will this work? I wonder if I've made the wrong decision. There isn't much support under this. But there was a rope dangling down. And the little figure began climbing the rope. This is always a good thing because a bit like the spiral staircase, it's vertical. It brings change more rapidly than going ahead. And halfway up the rope, there was a path in midair. I'm not quite sure what that was, but it was a path in midair, rather like a plank that Gemini could scramble onto and move forward. There were clouds in the way, which usually means not absolutely sure where you're putting your feet, not absolutely sure how this is going to work out. But it felt solid enough for the time being. It felt like it was heading somewhere, and it provided an alternative that was a little bit more energizing, a little bit more stimulating than simply plodding on. If the choice is to plod on, that's fine. It's just a very long path that goes on and on and on. And I know how that feels. Or there was this spiral staircase and then a rope and climb to a new level that carried more risk and the chance, I suppose, of failure, but also brought a new energy and a new dynamic and momentum into what could otherwise be a stale situation. That's what the next 2 months leading into 2024, I assume this continues into 2024, that's what the next 2 months look like. And now, Cancer. I get the feeling, there's Cancer right there, I get the feeling that I have said to Cancerians more than once, you're heading in the right direction, it's just taking a bit of time. And I can imagine Cancerians listening to this and going, please don't tell me that again. No, don't do this. But actually, that's what these pictures suggested. Way down the line, as you'll see in a second, way down the line, there were better times, broader opportunities, more freedom and room to breathe. But for now, it was a matter of waiting for that to arrive. It's about divine timing. We as humans are very impatient and frustrated easily, and we want things to move. Come on, I have this intention, I have this goal. But sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, that goal, that intention may conflict with divine timing. You cannot bully the universe, and it's pointless trying. So I went into the energy of Cancer, and you were climbing a cliff with a view to getting to a trapeze. And this suggested that the moment you reached that trapeze, everything would start moving because you could swing yourself forward and make a leap, do a thing, extend yourself, go somewhere. So you climbed up this cliff, which was a little bit arduous, I suppose, grabbed hold of the trapeze and thought, here we go. And nothing happened because it wasn't a swingy trapeze. What other kind of trapeze is there really? But it was more like a rod that you were dangling from. And it was on runners. There was a course that this had to take. And you were incapable of shunting things forward faster than they were prepared to go. That was basically it. Now, there was, as you gradually moved along the runners, there was a hole in the cliff there with people in it. And you thought, I want what they have. I want to be where they are. I want to do what they do. Look at them. They're having fun. And I'm just dangling from a trapeze going nowhere. Forget what other people are doing. What other people are doing, how they're progressing, what they're earning, how they're living their lives has nothing to do with you. You have a completely different soul contract to them. Your soul contract, your destiny is your own unique business. So focus on that and be patient. That's what the pictures seem to say. Because the trapeze, with you dangling on it, went forward and forward and forward at its own pace. Now, there was a way, I think, of climbing up the rope of the trapeze and sitting on a little ledge, but it was incredibly narrow. And you might go, yeah, but that's better than just waiting around and doing nothing. But I don't know that it was really, because you obviously have free will. You can take any kind of action you want to. But sometimes patience will pay off. And this, according to the pictures anyway, seemed to be one of those times. You were just coasting, or that's what it felt like, towards the end of the year. And when I took the trapeze forward into 2024, and maybe quite early into 2024 actually, there was a deep valley, like a glacial valley, big and U-shaped and full of opportunities down the line. And that's where you were heading. The trapeze went along and gradually turned around and went down the glacial valley. And somewhere in there, in that valley, is your reward for being patient, for not getting frustrated, for not trying to impose your will, your flimsy mortal will, on infinite intelligence, which of course does not work. So that was interesting. This was all about patience and knowing where you wanted to go, but not getting frustrated when divine timing didn't match your own mortal timing. And that might be hard. And you might be tempted to climb the rope and get on the little ledge. But, I'm good if you do that. There's no bad choices. There's only choices that are in sync with your soul's path and not in sync with your soul's path. But it felt to me like that higher little ledge was a lot narrower in terms of opportunity and fun and expansiveness than just waiting and surveying the scene, not being completely inert. I mean, don't just dangle from your trapeze doing nothing. You have to put in the work. But it did seem to me that waiting for the right moment was really paramount here. And you would know what that right moment was further down the line. I think it'll all come into view and into perspective in 2024. Now Leo. There's Leo, perplexed me enormously. Again, I did these pictures about a week and a half ago, and I couldn't figure them out at all. What on earth did any of this mean? And then yesterday, I looked again, because obviously I can't do the pictures without actually completing them. I found out what they mean, so that wait was worthwhile. And why it was confusing was that there was a ceiling, and Leo, the little figure, was running around on the ceiling, dizzy, running around, trying to get things done, eager to move on. And because you felt compelled in some kind of way to get things moving or get things done or move in a particular direction, you stuck to the ceiling, dangled down to where there was a row of lockers or something, looked like lockers, like you get in a school or a gymnasium or whatever, and they had handles. And it felt like desperation, but you pulled at one of the handles, any port in a storm, anything, just to keep me occupied or move me forward or bring me opportunity or whatever it was. And this locker really wasn't a locker at all. It was like a piece of sheet metal that you pulled out, but then you were clinging on to it for dear life. It felt impulsive. It felt impetuous. You know, in the Mission Impossible movies where Tom Cruise grabs hold of an aircraft as it's taking off. And that was the big stunt of the movie. But of course, he's clinging on for dear life as it goes down the runway and lifts off. It felt like that. Grab any port in a storm. Because there was an element of impatience here. There was an element of, I can't stand running around in circles anymore. I have to do something. Take action. Well, that's where I left it, because I thought, well, that doesn't seem nice. That doesn't seem like a good idea. When I came back to do it yesterday, I went back into the same energy, and here's what was happening. You know, you were running around on the ceiling initially. Well, that ceiling, unbeknownst to you, was gradually turning over. If you stuck with it, if you didn't grab at other things, if you didn't run madly in a million different directions out of fear or desperation or anxiety or whatever, the ceiling spun around and turned into a floor. And when it did, there was the next step up. It was effortless. It was enticing. It was wonderfully sunny and bright and opportunistic. It was something that you really did want, but which you might, by compromising, miss by virtue of taking desperate action in the short term. That's what these pictures felt like. It was a matter of doing something that you don't really enjoy very much, which is being patient and waiting for all the pieces to fall into place so that you could see the way forward. Upside down, running dizzily, full of frustration and whatever, you can't see the way forward. But as the new year approaches, and perhaps into the new year, this could be that long, you are moving in the right direction. But you don't have to do very much because the floor is moving to fit your needs. Just believe that. Just have a little faith, have a little trust. And maybe, if that's what circumstances provide, enjoy the next 2 months. Stop running around dizzily and just do what you can. Have fun, enjoy life. And have faith, have trust that everything is turning out exactly as it should. And all you have to do is yield and surrender to that. Moving on to Virgo. This was interesting. Virgo had a ball. And as I watched, Virgo kicked this ball over the hill, down the other side, into, I was guessing, 2024. Now, this to me suggested that you were setting an intention. You were looking forward to something that would happen in 2024, and the very prospect of this happening was what pulled you forward. This drew you in. This allowed you to navigate all kinds of tricky circumstances or stressful situations or challenges because you knew that what was happening next year was worth the wait, worth the while, worth the effort. That's what this felt like. Now, there was a hill, but it had a pretty shallow gradient, I thought. And there were puddles, some small puddles, some big puddles on the hill as you went up. This was stuff you had to deal with. This was problems that might arise. This was certain sets of circumstances that, you could do without. But that's just how life is. November and December had these things. And it was a matter of sorting them out, moving on. You're fully capable of doing it. And getting to the end of the year. Because you knew throughout this entire thing that next year, whatever this ball represented, whatever intention you had set, or alternatively, whatever you had put off because you didn't want to deal with it, that's possible, I suppose, too. That was awaiting you in 2024. So my view is that there's something in your head, in your mind, that you have projected onto 2024, something you'd like to accomplish, something you'd like to do because you've not done it or you had no time to do it, and now you are ready. Now 2024 is going to be the year that you do it. And it's that will help you steer around puddles and obstacles and so on. And will ultimately, I suppose, make your life complete, or so you think. So that's 2024. There's something there. And obviously, I'm curious what it is, but you just knew it was there and you kicked it over the hill and it was waiting for you when you got into the new year. That's what it felt like. Now, I also took a look at Libra. There is Libra. And this was interesting. This was a series of options. I've known quite a few Librans in my life, and they always had decision issues. Should I do this or should I do that? Should I get married or should I stay single? Should I buy this or buy that? It was always about this or that. There were always dilemmas and lots of delays while choices were made. But this is exactly what was in the pictures too. And the decision you make here will, I think, determine how actually generally happy you are over the coming months. Because there were 3 levels to choose from. which already will have you on edge. Oh no, oh no. But the first one you were like on a hill or something. This is where you are now or where you were recently. And dangling down, there was a series of rubber flaps, which I haven't drawn very well. You just have to trust me. They were flaps like this, wide and thin. And they were slippery and wet. Now, they offered progress, but it was difficult to cling on to them. You would have to step off your safe space, grab one, swing onto the next one, and then grab that, and then swing to the next one. It seemed like a lot of hard work. And I don't know that you wanted that level of risk, frankly. It was like other signs that I've done who are sort of unsure about what to do, so they grab at anything just to be doing something. And this felt like, yeah, you could do it. Yeah, it'd be fine. But there was a lot of slipperiness and a lot of potential for falling and stuff like that. And you might want to exercise a little patience and either wait or make a different choice. At this level, it felt like your ambitions were outstripping your talents or your abilities to sustain the endeavors you were indulging in. And if you did grab at the flaps, you might actually fall. Well, if that happened, it would land you on a gymnast bar. And you've seen these gymnast bars in pictures before. It usually means something fairly risky. Like the path is narrow, you've got to stay up on it, or you might fall. And it seems like, a lot of focus is necessary to keep you on track. And this is what happened here. This was option 2. This is like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This was option 2. But it felt like, yeah, you could do it. Yeah, you'd be okay. Yeah, you'd stay on course and you'd keep your balance and everything would be harmonious and fine. But it also felt like a compromise from what you really needed to be doing, or a performance even. Like, well, I'm doing this because I can, and look at how good I am. But yeah, there's a lot of effort in it. Just staying on the bar seemed like a lot of effort. And hanging onto the flat seemed like a lot of effort. So that's the first two. A lot of work, a lot of input to keep yourself dangling or balancing. And then there was option 3. And option 3 was simply to trust and surrender and go down the hill and relax into the moment. Allow yourself to survey what was on offer and take what felt right when it felt right. If that happened to be next year, so be it. But don't, according to the pictures anyway, don't feel compelled or impelled to do something simply because you're not doing something. Don't grab at an opportunity that doesn't feel right at a gut level. Don't walk along a beam that requires so much focus that you're basically just showing off or performing for people or being something you're not in order to convince those around you that you are competent, or yeah, you are ambitious, or yeah, you can do this, that, and the other, whatever. Just do what's right for you. Don't give away your sovereignty, your power to other people to impress them or whatever. Just go inside yourself, into your center, your divine center, where you know what you are meant to do, and ask for guidance. That's what's there. It's not out here. Nobody knows what's right for you but you and your soul. Do that, and you'll probably find that the answer is not to grab, not to balance, not to try so hard, but to simply allow circumstances to unfold as they should, according to divine time. That's what that felt like. Now on to Scorpio. There's Scorpio. Oh, how these pictures amused me. I've not seen anything like this before, actually, but it's going to obviously be an interesting few months. because Scorpio was looking at a wall over there. I think that represented the end of the year, actually. But between now and the end of December, there was, it looks like a chessboard, a very badly drawn chessboard in the pictures. But actually what it was, and I tried my hardest, but I gave up, it was one of those puzzles that has tiles in it. It's the most frustrating of puzzles ever, where you're a little square and you have to move the tiles this way, that way, this way, that way, and you put all the numbers in order or something like that. And it's really infuriating, but it's how you would move forward for the next 2 months. All you had to do was be circumspect, slightly cautious, prudent, and go, okay, what's best for me next? What do I have to do next? Move that tile into place. And then another tile into place to allow you to move forward, like making pontoons across a lake. But you had to slide all the pieces into the right order for a smooth ride. But there was something else about this that was more complicated, because you had to choose a direction. Veer towards the new or relax into the old. Go to the left, go to the right. Because you had to go around that wall. Now, if you took the old path, you became more comfortable, went with the familiar, relaxed into what you know and didn't take a risk or whatever, which is fine, I guess. You got around the wall and there was some kind of canopied walkway there, which is a little bit dark, like, oh God, there has to be a better way than this. Why did I choose this path? You had to sort out problems. You had to get back on course somehow. If you didn't take that path and you went towards the left of the wall, you didn't relax into the familiar, you actually took what was new and interesting and so on, you found that the wall pivoted around, letting you through. It wasn't the obstacle that you thought it was. The end of the year didn't have to bring any kind of stress or torment or wondering about what you were going to do. It became obvious. The wall swiveled around and there you were on the other side. On the other hand, if you went down the length of the wall the other way and you put your tiles in the wrong place, then you did actually end up in exactly the same area that you would have gone otherwise, but you had to go through this little dark canopied walkway. It's like, oh, I knew I should have done that. I knew I should have put my tiles over there and not over here. Oh, what was I thinking? And then you have to kind of unravel what you've done. It's almost like if you go out with your credit card before Christmas and you buy a car on your credit card. Can you do that? I have no idea. But you go and buy a car, and then after Christmas you go, oh, I don't think I can afford the car. I wish I'd not done that now. That kind of thing. But maybe not so grave as that. But there was a sense of, if you plan your life right, you put the tiles in the right order, and you go over here, then the wall just swiveled around, obstacles disappeared, and you moved into 2024 with a lot more confidence and feeling a lot better about your life and situations. I mean, I don't think any of it was life or death, but it was just the way you chose the direction forward and what was easier and what was slightly harder. That's all.